Hey, what's up? It's your Radio Love, Deja Vu. You know we always have your favorite celebs stopping by the show. Today, we have Emayatzy and McKinley. Emayatzy, pronounce your last name.
Emayatzy Corinealdi.
Corinealdi. I was right. I didn't want to say it and butcher it.
I appreciate it.
And McKinley Freeman?
Yeah.
Yes, from Reasonable Doubt. Y'all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Listen, we are big fans of the show around here. Jackson Lewis got me. Look, I was wrapped. I'm wrapped. Talk to us about when you all first got news about the project. How did you hear about it, and how did you decide that, yeah, I can work this character out?
My team presented it to me first, and at the time, I had another job ready to go. That's what I was doing. Done. Let's sign the deal.
Whoa. And
they said, okay, but wait, can you read this first? And I said, but no, why? I like this. I'm going to do this. And they were insistent. So about, a week and a half or so went by because they said they are ready to cast this. Like, we need you to read it. And so once I did, I said, okay, I see what you're saying. But the problem is I was going to have to fight for it. And the other one, it was a straight offer. And I felt like finally, someone is appreciating my hard work.
My value.
Yes, you know what I mean? And then it was like, oh, they want me to go in and fight. I'm tired. It was like a moment in my career where I didn't feel like fighting in that same way. But when I read it, it was undeniable. It was undeniable. And I said, okay, let me just find it within me. And that's how it came together. That's how it came together for me.
And whatever happened to the other role?
I had to let it go. Another fantastic actress got it.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you going to tell me what it was?
We don't need to.
Okay, fine.
We don't need to do that.
We don't need to talk about
That's
that. McKinley, what about you? When did you find out about it?
Well, I was actually on another job as well, ironically working with Morris in North Carolina on a project. And at the time, we were like shooting, and they were like, hey, there's this project. You should check it out. Carrie's producing it. Larry Wilmore, this amazing, super talented person named Ramla Muhammad, and it has some powerhouse named Emayatzy. I was like, all right, I'll read it. So I read it, and I put it on tape, and I actually read for Damon originally because I was in braids on the show.
Did I know that?
I don't know if you knew that or not, but I read for Damon originally, and then I got to the callback, and my hair was different because the show was moving different directions that I was on. So when I came back, and I had like the Killmonger coils, and they're like, oh, maybe he could be Lewis. And at the time, I was like flying back and forth, like taking care of my grandmother and stuff like that. And then eventually, got back to Carolina, then flew across the country for a day for a chemistry, and I met Emayatzy in person, and it was just literally like this.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, I was giving her a hard time.
And had you guys met before?
No, but
Wow.
it was instant chemistry, yeah.
That's
Easy.
super dope. And that's what we see coming across the screen, for
Yeah.
real. So you got the roles, you went in, you're shooting these things. Y'all have some kind of heavy subjects. I mean, it's fun. It's law. For people who have not seen it, shame on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Shame
law,
on you.
it's love, it's drama.
Yeah.
But the drama is it's different from what we've seen in a lot of other shows. How did you put your own stamp on those characters with all that mixed in?
Well, from my character, she's inspired by Sean Hawley, who is a powerhouse defense attorney in L.A. And so that's how the show kind of started. It's loosely based on her experiences in L.A., taking on these different cases that people may question, why did you take that on? And she loves that challenge, And so Jax finds herself in the same situations with the kind of cases that she chooses to take on. I forgot where I was going with the rest of that. But how you came about
your stamp on the character.
Yeah, how did you put your own?
Okay, yeah.
Your
So
own.
it was inspired by
That's what I'm
Sean.
here for, ladies and gentlemen.
And then so I knew that I had at least that place to start, But because this is not a show that is based on her, you know what I mean? It's not about her. I knew that I was going to be able to come in and kind of make it my own, And knowing that we haven't seen a character like Jax before, that was an exciting opportunity. We've had so many wonderful examples, from, of course, Carrie on Scandal and Annalise Keating or what have you, But Jax is her own thing, and so I think I was able to just make it my own without feeling the pressure of trying to meet any other kind of expectations.
And what about you, McKinley?
I mean, I think that's a really good answer. I think Lewis is the beginnings of the relationship is, as Emayatzy says, loosely based on Dorian Hawley, who's Sean's husband, who's a fantastic musician in his own right, extremely creative. But I think it's kind of interesting because it requires the same level of creativity to both kind of develop things, something out of nothing, as it does to make music. So for me, stepping into the role of Lewis, it was really about being honest about what it takes to be in a situation like this. I mean, people talk about wanting to have having an amazingly, extremely powerful woman as a partner. But how do you actually? What's that actually look like in real life, day to day? Not just your idea of it, but the reality of it versus what it actually takes to stay together, which is the point. So for me, it was very much about approaching it in a very human perspective and just really figuring out what would it be like to be with this beautiful woman that's not all over the place in the news professionally, but also there's a lot of stuff. I'm sorry, you see me rocking back and forth.
I do. That's why I'm like, come back.
Yeah. You're like, come back, come on back. But no, that's the beginning, right? But it always comes back to like, what is a man in this position gonna do? What is he willing to do to keep the woman and the family that he's dedicated his life to? And it's like, you never know till you're in that situation, really.
That's true.
Yeah.
I love the dynamic that you all have because you can see the love that's there. You can see that, okay, I want to fight for this sometimes, but you get on my nerves and you're not afraid to call it out. That's the part that I love both of y'all.
Wait a minute, who get on my nerves?
Both of y'all.
Okay, I'm about to say, because you looked at me. No, she looked.
No, I'm saying like that's what
she
you all
kind
would
of pointed
say,
with her
pretty much.
eyes. No, I'm just joking.
No, but I love the fact that you all call it out.
Yeah.
Do you know any couples, or are you looking at a specific couple? I know you're talking about the Hollies, but do you look in to say, okay, these people were couple goals and they've weathered the storm? Have you looked at any to utilize that when you're in character?
No,
not at all.
I think it's just it's life, it's relationship, it's marriage. It's all of those things that I think you connect to, whether you've been married or not.
Yeah.
Those little things that you can't quite put your finger on that cause the issue. And then they grow bigger and deeper and wider if you don't address it. So I think just taking those, for me, that was the easy part. Right. That was my way into the character and into their world, into their relationship.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's she's got the good answers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just
no,
but that's real. No, I don't mean.
answers.
I mean good. I mean like it's just spot on. It's like the cool thing about this show is it puts us firmly into like the people's living rooms of what they may have just happened or might be happening or possibly should happen when you start talking about things like therapy. So it's like there's
that part as you lead into that. How important is it for us to be able to see that? Because a lot of folks now are talking about just going and getting mental health therapy, taking care of our mental health, but to see marriage therapy, couples therapy enacted on television, I mean, you don't really get to see that, especially not with Black characters.
For sure. And I think, listen, from Lewis's perspective, I made for me, it was like, this is the only place I get to be honest and not get beat up as much, right? But also, it's the only place where I actually have sincere time because I have my own job in this world, looking after our kids as she is, but she's also got pressing time matters. So it's like this hour, 42 minutes, whatever it is, this is the time that I have to like be honest as much as you can in 2-0 whatever we are.
Yeah.
Whoa. You see, this is what I'm dealing with.
And, there's still that stigma, especially with Black people and therapy. You know what I mean? And then when you add Black men and therapy, so I love that the show really just dives into it and makes it seem like it's okay. It's not this, stigma that's going to, make things worse for you or what have you, So I love that we really go deep into that arena so that people get to see that it could help you, especially as in couples. It's okay to go in therapy and try to figure it out for yourself rather than the two of you constantly bumping your heads against the wall trying to find an answer, So I think Ramla does a great job of throwing the therapy in there. And that's where a lot of the, the conversations happen when people are leaving, their comments and everything they love. Right. They have those debates with their spouse constantly. And they feel like, oh, this is our form of therapy. Or I've had people say, now I'm going to go to therapy and all of
because
that.
They've seen it on the show.
They've seen it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right. And so from the therapy, there's also other underlying things that go on too. You all are very strong sensually on the show and expressively. How did that play out into like real world things? Because I mean, you don't really see what your couple dynamic. I don't want to give it to everybody who has not seen the couple dynamic that you all have. You don't hear about that not in real life, but you don't see it depicted on television.
You mean the risque, the
risque of it all.
Yeah.
The risque of it all. How has that been for you all? Have you gotten feedback on that? And also, how is that when you're filming? Because you have to get into the zone and you have a very expressive face and you're like, Okay, so what is going on? But talk to us about the dynamic of that.
Well, see, you got to remember, this is what I mean when I got that pilot and I finally read it. And that first scene, you know, where she's having sex and looking at him in the camera watching, and I'm reading, it's like, oh, this is what we're doing on this show.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It just started out like boom,
Yes.
and continued on.
Facts.
And when you add that to everything else, to just the complexity of the characters and why they got there, how they got there, you know, then it's a complete story. And so for me, that's what makes it easy, because it may not be my life and it may not be the choices that I make in my marriage, but people make these choices. And at the end of the day, I like to have fun exploring why we make the choices that we do. So that's what made it easy for me.
See how much fun she's talking about? This is one of the, no, I'm just kidding. It's giving you a hard time. No, but no, I think, you know, the chance to be able to, I think really the cool thing about this season is we get a chance to understand how it even all, where that came
I
from.
love the flashback.
You know what I'm saying? Because that was my same
good.
question. Is like, yo, where is this thing going? You know,
Right.
what does this turn into? But I think being able to, it's also that thing where, you know, we were talking earlier about the idea of, you know, are Jackson Lewis based on couple goals, and we were kind of like not so much. I think also when you
But
start
everybody's
talking about,
gonna say couple goals.
well, yeah.
You know that.
But of course, but my thing is like it kind of comes back to the thing where it's like the goals are the most important goals are between the two people in the relationship, and that might include these kinds of things. And it's like even with those things, it's like how do we get here? How do we leave? How do we make sure we're all on the same page? All that kind of stuff. So it's super, super interesting.
I like the fact that there are many different dynamics going on with you all, then with the friendships, with your brother, and even with your mom.
Yes.
I love that too. Will we be exploring more of those things in season 3? And how has that, you know, how do you play out? Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
They better.
Right.
Let them know.
I want to riot up in here.
I know, that's right. Well, ABC is producing the Deja Vu show as well, so therefore. But I love those different dynamics because it kind of encapsulates the entire, your whole being, you know, family, friends, and everything. How has that played out for you in your own life? Do you utilize some of your scenarios from that? I just want to see where you're drawing from when you're doing some of these scenes.
Well, for me, a large part of it, I mean, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I have a career, you know, so those were my entry points into the character.
But even the friendships that you have, because y'all are just kind of like really tight.
Yeah, we are. And that was another thing. We just clicked easily, all four of us as well, you know. But I think all of that, though we're different, you know what I mean? It's easy when you're able to take those inspirations, you know, from your life, you know, whether it be for better or for worse, you know, with your friendships. I got a girlfriend who she always want to do what she want to do. I got a girlfriend who every time we get upset about something, she's the one who's going to walk off. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things that you are able to take and, you know, infuse those into the world.
And McKinley, you said in one of the scenes, like, I am a father. And I was just like, oh, that was just that resonate. Not that I'm a father, but it just, I thought that was such an impactful statement. I know the writers put it in, but do you look to any kind of drawing from any kind of resources for that? Are you a father yourself?
I'm not a father myself, but I think recognizing the responsibility of a father is important. And I think it's almost like whatever's needed at any given time. But also with that as well is there's a foundation necessary for a man to be able to stand on his own too as well. And that's in the face of all the complexities that life may bring. And I think sometimes, as this show does a great job of it, is it provides a great example of sound advice and not so sound advice, right? And how taking one versus the other could open doors and those kinds of things. But I think at the end of the day, being able to say that in this character and in the real world that I'm a father, there's just a certain level of gravitas that comes to that. And for me, that comes from watching my dad, my grandfathers, my homeboys that look after their kids. Shout out to Ray, Lionel, E-Dog, T-Map. You know what I'm saying? But like these cats that are like since day one, whether the world decided that it would or had an opinion that was sooner than expected or whatever the case may be, they stood there. So for me, it's about because I have to have conversations with those guys. Like my cousin Ray and his wife, they call me mid-episode with theory. So it's like I can't just be out here like with the idea of the thing isn't more important than the actual point of view necessary in the world of the story. So for me, it's not. It starts with recognizing those relationships are necessary, but realizing that the priority is making the most of the relationship in the world with this fantastic actress on the other side of me and like making the world as vivid and as real as possible.
And so in season 2, you all introduced a new character with Morris Chestnut coming in. He said that there's a whole cool vibe with the cast and crew, with everybody in there. Y'all made him feel really welcome and everything. What goes on behind the scenes? Paint the picture for us.
I didn't really talk to Morris. Like after the no, I'm just joking.
No, paint the picture. What goes on with you all behind the scenes? Give us a look back. We see you on TV, but what happens behind?
Oh, it's much lighter behind. It's lots of games and joking and just
Emayatzy's
singing.
Racing people in the parking lot and winning.
Racing people.
Undefeated. Running in the parking lot with no shoes. Like I'm just saying.
Me. You know what I mean? They think we have these conversations, and when I tell you, I used to run, you believe me the first time.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? And so, yes, it was a lot of that. You got to show. Sometimes you got to show people. You got to pop out.
You got to pop out and show.
So it's just that. That's all that is. So yeah, we have a good time backstage on the show, in between action and cut.
For sure. And like everybody has opinions. Like even our sound people would act out the scenes before the day. And like for real, like Sierra's not in here, but like Sierra stopped being my friend at like the 3rd week of production because people start reading ahead in the episodes. So just like
she had an attitude already.
All the smoke I was getting during later episodes and seconds. Like listen, the whole cast and crew. Like I had like 3 friends for like
funny.
for like 3.5 months. But
is there a group chat going on? Do y'all have one of those?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of chat.
There's lots of
The
chats.
Ladera ladies, we have our own chat. We all have friendships outside of what happens on the camera.
I love it. I love the whole production of it. I've gone full throttle into it, been telling everybody about it and everything. So like I said, it does encapsulate all of the whole being. You also have sensitive subjects, like this week or this season you guys were talking about domestic violence.
Yes.
What's been the response to that?
Oh, people have really felt that it has extended another opportunity for a conversation about topics that we don't talk about a lot. And that has been the thing that I know Ramla Muhammad, our creator, has just felt so, fulfilled about, that people are able to really feel safe in having the conversations as a result, especially the way that we deal with the storyline. It is not easy. And again, that just our cast is fantastic. Shannon Kane, who really just went out there and did it. She plays the character of Chanel and TJ, or not TJ, JT. People, everyone is just feeling that freedom to now speak about something. I think our show really allows people to have these conversations that they wouldn't be having before. Watching the show, whether it be with your spouse or with friends. I had a good friend of mine who she watches it with her girlfriends, and they're watching the show. They're watching the episode where Chanel is getting beat up by her husband. And one of the friends just wasn't really commenting. Everyone else was commenting, "Oh, girl," all that kind of stuff. But she wasn't saying anything. And it wasn't until the next episode where she told one of the friends in the group and said, "Wow, that happened to me." And these were all good friends.
Wow.
And she was like, "Why did you never tell me?" And she just, I just felt like I had to deal with it. I never thought that would be facing me like this, with other friends, where it just feels like I wasn't expecting that to be a part of the storyline, So it really has allowed a lot of conversations to happen on a subject that's very sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, the whole topic of domestic violence is a very sensitive subject. And even from my days on Hit the Floor, I had a good friend, Stephanie Mosley, that was murdered by her husband.
Wow.
So like the topic isn't it's not something that's glossed over. And then if you've been thinking about coming off the heels of a situation like COVID, where before people had a chance to leave their spaces, and coming out of that, I just think there's lots of this story and the opportunity. Again, I always say that art is good art is like getting a new pair of glasses, a lenses to see the world with. So when you're done with it, you go outside and you can see hues that you didn't see before. And I think that through the lens of this show, there's a version of life that, to Emayatzy's point, even just a little subtle, just even another additional second to look around and check on a friend is it could be everything.
And I have to add that Ramla really made sure that everyone felt safe on set. On every call sheet, there was a national domestic violence hotline for anyone to call. There were people that you can go and talk to while this whole season was going. Yeah. So she really made sure it was a safe space for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's deep, because sometimes some of that stuff can be triggering.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like you said, some
even
folks
for
haven't
people
shared.
on the cast and crew, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but even for people on the cast and crew, like Emayatzy's point, like somebody in the midst of 300 people could be quiet, but it's like providing a space where we're like, hey, this is what's happening. But if there's anything happening in this space, know that there's resources. I think to me, it's like it makes me really proud to be working with the people, not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well, for sure.
Yeah. So we know that Reasonable Doubt comes on every Thursday
on Hulu.
New episodes. We got a couple more left.
Yes.
What am I going to watch in between that? I mean, after
Watch it again.
Yeah, start all over.
I'll go back over.
Yes.
Let's go.
Okay, there we go. Maybe break it on down in a different way.
There you go, with a different friend group.
That's right.
All right, but wait, before Reasonable Doubt, what were you all into? I know you said you had different projects and everything. Talk to us about when you first got started in the industry leading up to now. Emayatzy.
Oh, man, a little bit of everything. I've had the fantastic opportunity to have worked with some really wonderful actors. You know, I did a great film, just one of my favorites, with Don Cheadle, and a film called Miles Ahead. And that was just really just such a great experience. You know, I learned so much on that set because that was his first time directing. And so I learned a lot watching him, and he just, even though that was his first time, he poured into me a lot. You know, it was really wonderful. I've worked with a fantastic filmmaker named Karan Kusama. I just have had the luxury of having some really wonderful experiences. I haven't had anything that, you know, has been a negative in that way, thankfully.
TV or movies? Which one do you like better doing?
I like them both equally.
Yeah,
there was a time when,
I know, that's right. A paycheck, give it here.
Because they're so different. You know what I mean? With the movie, you get to have this character. There's a beginning and an end, and that's it. You know, even if you get a part 2, it's just still that's it. You know, with TV, these characters kind of continue, and, you know, they go a little bit longer, so they satisfy two different needs.
Do you guys get to chime in and say, hey, what do you think about Jax or Lewis doing this when you're on the show? Really?
Absolutely. It's very collaborative. Very. Yeah, Ramla makes sure, you know, she knows that though she's written these words, we have to say them, you know, so they have to feel, you know, genuine coming out of my mouth, out of our mouths, you know, and so she's great about that.
That's literally how she would say it.
And McKinley, what about you? What were you doing before?
Well, before this,
How'd you get in?
Getting into this, I was in the tech space before, and then at some point I was like,
I read that. Like, wait, you just made a hard pivot. Like,
well, you said got into it, so I just,
Okay, so break that down. What happened? You were like, I'm tired of doing this tech, whatever. Fine,
I was like,
I'm out of here.
I was working. I was like, I feel like I have some time. Like, what else could I do? So I started modeling a little bit. Like, I went to some open calls, and they're like, hey, maybe you should do this.
I can get a Donnie Simpson. I get a Donnie Simpson video. So you know, right?
But then from there, like, actually my first kind of introduction to the business was here in New York. I came here to like be part of something. They were like searching for a guy to put on his daytime show, and somehow they figured like they wanted me to come check it out. So I went and tried, and I was like, So then I went back home, and I was like, well, I guess we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? And then it just kept going. And
so wait, you got some work, and then you went back to your regular 9 to 5
I went back
job?
I was so at the time I could work remote before people were doing it. So because IBM was like figuring out the software thing, and they were like trying it. So like, so like I was working remote, and then finally I was like, well, if I could at least get this far and get told no, like what would happen if I actually tried? So I was like, all right, why not? So my road was a little bit different. Like I didn't have any credits. I'd never studied acting before. I never did any. I was like, all right. So I started going to class, booked some co-stars. Actually did an ABC showcase way back in the day.
I did one of those.
Yeah.
I think it was a CBS Diversity Showcase.
Yeah. So
and what is that? What do you do?
Basically, like they find, I guess they do a casting thing for a diverse talent for different networks, and then they do like a showcase for different agents and managers and stuff like that.
So you have to go out there and do like a skit or something, a monologue?
Yeah, like a
with
different scenes with
actor,
another actor.
And you perform it, and they invite execs and things like that.
See, I never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's cool. Shout out to Io Davis. So Io Davis is like one of the I want to say like one of the president or SVP. Somebody keep me honest about her position at ABC, but she was one of the people that was helping put that together way back in the day. So it shows like the importance of those kinds of things, and then also just the opportunity of going through those roads and being in a position where we could be in a world like this show to be able to like not just speak to the truth of that, but also just the truth of our experiences as well.
Okay. All right. So that's work.
Yeah.
What does fun look like? What do y'all do for fun? Where are we? Are we at home? We hanging out? We sipping on a little drink or something? What do we do for fun?
I'm definitely a homebody. I'm a homebody. I've become a bit more of a homebody since having a baby. I have a 3-year-old. Yes. And yeah, I just love being a mom. It's just what I was born to do. And so all things mom related are just what
is she into now? Is it Bluey? Is it the cocoa melon?
No, she doesn't, she doesn't watch any TV yet still. So right now she's doing her phonics now. So she's enjoying learning how to spell. Yeah. So she'll come and, because we have little flashcards just taped up all around on the counter. She'll say, Mom, Mom. So that's what she's enjoying right now. And I'm enjoying it too. It's fun. But I do, after I do all that, then I have a little glass of wine, me and the hubby, and, we'll relax that way.
Very nice. And McKinley, what about you?
Listen, I feel like I'm always doing something. So whatever I'm not doing something is like the relaxing. But for me, for balance, I do jujitsu. I invested in a school that opened in June, but I've been doing it since like 2014.
Wow!
And for me, it's like there's a ironic piece that comes with jiu-jitsu that you can only learn from actually doing it. But for me, even during the course of the production, it was like I continued to train. But that's my thing.
I was like, McKinley, stop! What if you hurt yourself?
I'm not gonna hurt
you on the thing, but.
No,
yeah,
everything's gonna be.
But both
fine.
of y'all look very fit. I mean, y'all are always running or something during the scenes. Is that real running? And are y'all really? Or are we just gonna
No, that's real running.
Well, that's something. I guess that's technically something else I like to do. Like I'm always running. There's a huge hill by my house. I run that all the time. I like to be outside. And I used to run track. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As you said, the races on the set.
No, but here's the thing: like she'd be setting them up like over the course of a few episodes. Like, hey, Emayatzy says she want to race me, bro. I'm like, all right, yeah, all right. You get out there if you want to. I won't be doing it.
You've already learned?
No, I ain't getting out there.
You're not to. I appreciate
listen,
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna let her have that. I got no problems. I'll be setting people up. Hey, so.
Right. Y'all are funny. All right, so holidays are coming up. What do the holidays look like for you? What are you getting into for that?
Ooh, this holiday for Christmas, my little brother is stationed in Spain. He's in the Air Force. He just had a new baby. He's married, so we're all gonna go out there for Christmas.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, do you speak Spanish?
I do. My father's from Panama.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. It's the thing is, there's a lot of different Spanish.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm gonna go in there and speak my Spanish.
I heard that.
And see if they understand me and vice versa. We'll figure something
You'll work it out. You'll work it out, I'm sure. And what about you, McKinley? What are you getting into for the holidays?
I'll probably end up back in Champaign. Champaign, my home. That's where my family is. I'll probably be there for a few days, holler at my folks, make sure everybody's cool.
Okay. Yeah. All right. And then we're off to a brand new year.
Yes.
Well, y'all, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
I love Reasonable Doubt. Can't wait to see season 3. But in the meantime, we have how many more episodes?
Two.
Gosh, 2 more episodes. Is the finale going to hurt me, or am I going to be...
Listen.
What do I have to look forward to?
Every single episode has been a cliffhanger,
It has. But that's why I'm glad it goes straight into it. And y'all pick right back up. I'm like, yes.
Right.
I'm going to warn you now. Every single episode has been a cliffhanger.
You know what? Don't leave me on this note like this. Emayatzy, don't.
I'm going to leave you on a cliffhanger.
All right, fine. We'll be watching this and every Thursday.
Much.
Thank you all so much for stopping by.
Thank you.